It's good. Sorry for tapping it, making it sound all yucky and strange right now. Anyway, what's up, you guys? Andrew Douglas Moon here. Have not been doing a fragrance stream in a while now, so very excited to actually be back and hang out with you guys for a little while. Not sure if I'm going to keep the light on or not, but with that being said, anybody who wants to come through, hang out and talk about fragrances as per usual, that's what we're going to be doing here. Hopefully the stream looks like it's lagging a little bit, but hopefully it actually starts to pick up and everything's going to be okay. But anyway, 100% super duper. You know what? I just realized I should have done this a long time ago. I actually cannot believe I didn't think to do this already, but let's do it now. Why not fix it while we still can? Perfect. That is fantastic. That way you guys can actually still see it. But what's up, you guys? Thank you so much for popping through. Anybody who takes the time to come through this evening. I am Andrew Douglas Moon. I have not done a fragrance stream in a while, so I'm here to hang out with you guys. What's up, John? Super happy to see you, brother. Just in case you're interested or anybody's curious, tomorrow I'm going to be doing the usual biblical studies stream, but tonight we're doing another fragrance stream because I just haven't done that in a while. I'd love to know what you guys are wearing today, in particular what your fragrance of the day is. As always, this is a family-friendly stream to anybody who comes through who is not usual to the channel. So we're going to be keeping it nice and clean, but anybody's welcome to pop through, hang out, ask questions, and just chill in general or whatever. So again, Andrew Douglas Moon, super happy to be here with you guys. Haven't done this in a while. So John, like I said, hope you're having a good time, having a good day today. My personal fragrance of the day today, ironically, I don't even remember what it was. I put on Versace Eros Flame this morning, but I really was kind of sticking hard to Bianco Latte, to be honest with you, because I have not worn that in a while, but I actually sprayed it on my right arm and was shocked because Eros Flame wore off after probably about 7 hours, something along those lines, but the other one really stuck for me today. Mine's La Nuit de l'Homme. Fantastic choice, buddy. Johnny Scorpio, Amouage Portrayal, man, that is a fantastic. So we smelled, me and my wife, when we went to that thing, we smelled Purpose. I've not smelled Portrayal yet. I can't remember. I think that's the newest one or newer one that just came out. But I'd love to know how that one does for you and how it performs. Because Amouage is something that I haven't worn a lot recently. You know, I've got a bunch of them. Haven't really gave them a chance recently. But I got to get back into them because I do love their performance. And in general, they make really good, unique Middle Eastern perfumery. But I'd love to know how that one was doing for you. But yes, as always, like I said, Andrew Douglas Moon, super happy to have you guys come through and hang out tonight, anybody who gets a chance to do so. I know we haven't done a fragrance stream in a while, but I'm very glad to be getting back into it with you guys. So if anybody is new here and you got any questions, you want to talk about fragrances, I would love to do so with you. Hopefully also my microphone's not driving you guys crazy. But yeah, super happy to talk about whatever you guys want. What's up, Mick? Happy to see you, buddy. Hopefully I'm going to be seeing you tomorrow if you get the opportunity to come through as we do our usual study stream. It performs pretty good. That's awesome. Well, I'm glad to know that. What does it kind of have a smell profile, if you don't mind telling me? Definitely, like I said, I haven't checked it out yet, but I'm pretty sure it's still one of the newer ones. But eventually I'm going to start collecting some more Amouages. I was thinking about adding some Argos to my collection, but to be honest with you, there's a series of different things I want to actually get my nose on, and some of these fragrance houses' scent profiles seem to be such a mismatch of things that I already kind of have that I was like, I don't know if I'm going to actually go down that road. Give me just a second, you guys. Sorry. But anyway, yeah, like I said, super happy to have you guys here. Hey, brother, I'll be working tomorrow, but I'll be listening like always. That's awesome. Super excited to have you there. It means a lot to me that you even come through. When I've been doing those streams, very recently trying out some of the different things that I've been doing and definitely being more faith-based as a channel as a whole. I've seen a huge significant drop subscriber-wise because of doing those kinds of things, but just keeping it more me, keeping it more honest to who I am and my beliefs and my family and stuff. But like I said, I'm going to continue to be doing these fragrance streams and hanging out with you guys in general. This channel is going to be just pretty much whatever I really want to be doing with it, to be honest with you. So if you come through here, it's just having a good time, having a good community, and focusing in a good direction. But I'm happy to have anybody that pops through here. And like I said, I'd love to know what you guys are wearing today. It is a very nice hot day down here, so I probably should have picked something like a little bit more vibrant and tropical this morning. But ultimately, I went with Versace Eros Flame. This one has been speaking to me so much recently because Eros Parfum is still my favorite of the Eros bunch. But this one, the blood orange note in this I still stick by the idea that any of the Eros line, any of them except for the Energy, most of the Eros line can be worn any time of the year, especially like, it doesn't matter if it's spring, fall, winter, summer. It doesn't really matter. They all can kind of go any direction. But the Eros Flame is definitely one of those ones that leans a little bit more wintertime with the spicy blood orange with the woodsy creaminess going on underneath. Yet at the same time, it's just absolutely perfect for me to wear as like a nice summer evening fragrance. But hope you guys who come through have a little time to chill this afternoon. I know I used to always do my fragrance streams on Wednesdays. But I've been kind of gear shifting them a little bit more to just kind of whenever I get the chance. We've been switching up our family routine as a whole, like what we do every evening, hanging out with the in-laws and stuff, since we live in the same neighborhood. Finally getting a bit more settled in as far as everything goes in the new house. So definitely trying to get my schedule going so I can hang out more with you guys and have a little bit more time, a little more quality time, I guess I could say. And also focusing on everything that's going on with the Biblical Study series and stuff. So happy to have anybody who pops through here. Please feel free to ask questions should you choose to do so. Scent of the Day, Wave Child by Room 1015. I've actually not heard of that one. I don't have what that is whatsoever. I want to check that out. You said Wave Child? Let me see what that's all about. That sounds fantastic. Wave Child. Huh. I've seriously never heard of this. That looks fantastic though. And it is coconut, watermelon, orange, and ambergris. Oh, I bet that's really good. I like to check out more coconut scented fragrances as time goes on, especially since we are in the dead of summer. That's kind of an area that I didn't realize I was happy with, because I know some coconut scents can be a little too maybe cheap might not be the right word to use, but it's kind of what I'm going to use right now, because obviously the profile that comes through in like the Beau de Parfum is very nice to me, but I have smelled some. It's definitely not something I think I'm comfortable getting as a note profile with dupes and Middle Eastern perfumery. I like the cheaper variety. But as always, anybody who doesn't know, I'm Andrew Douglas Moon, just hanging out with you guys. Going to be doing a fragrance stream here. If you guys got any questions about fragrances, please feel free to ask. There's no wrong questions or whatsoever. Unless they are obviously not family friendly or inappropriate. But definitely can say, I know it's been tough for people lately because the channel has continued to gear shift and me doing more of my biblical study series overall and more of my faith-based content. And I have had a dip in folks who want to actually hang around and kind of talk in general because of that. I didn't realize how many people maybe were not quite on board with that kind of stuff as far as the older content of this channel goes. But at the end of the day, I don't really care. I've been very happy with what I've been doing. It's been meaningful to me in my life spiritually, but I still really love to have this time with you guys whenever we get the chance to do so. And Kia loves it. That's awesome. Well, then, in that case, I might have to give it a shot at some point and check out a little bit different, because recently I have had a few pickups that I haven't had a chance to show you guys. I finally got Supremacy in Heaven, because after I had gotten the Afnan Collector's Edition, I wanted to give it a shot, see what it was all about, because the Afnan Collector's Edition really impressed me. As well, somebody had asked me about Rare Carbon by Afnan, and I had not tried it before until very recently, and I finally got myself a bottle of Rare Carbon. I gotta be completely real here. As somebody who, this is definitely not Ombre Leather Parfum. So Rare Carbon is more of the original Eau de Parfum profile. If you guys haven't tried it, so the Parfum is my favorite personal take on the Ombre Leather by Tom Ford, but it's more of a true to the core leather sandalwood fragrance, whereas the Eau de Parfum is a little bit more of a almost fruity feel to it. A brightness comes through to it. And the Rare Carbon by Afnan definitely takes a good hold on that. I love it. When I got it in, I was nervous, but it is a bright, almost fruity feel to the leather vibe that's going on, with that little bit of like a nice little sandalwood smoothness going on underneath it. But I really love this. It's got good performance. So to shock me as a cheaper leather alternative fragrance, but as well, like I said, I got Supremacy in Heaven, which you already know. I had Club de Nuit Sillage. What's a cologne with a strong mint smell? I'll get to you in just a second. But like I was saying, as you guys know, I already had Club de Nuit Sillage by Armaf. By Armaf instead of Afnan. And that fragrance was really good to me as a Silver Mountain water dupe. And I really loved it. But this one, it definitely does not have nearly as good a performance. I will say that much. This one, which is supposed to be Creed Aventus Absolute, has like incredible performance for what it's worth. This bad boy is Supremacy in Heaven. Smells nice. I'd say it's comparable, just like different, depending on the mood that you're in, to Sillage. But I will say, as a whole, I've got to probably prefer getting Club de Nuit if I was going to gear shift somebody in that direction. And with that being said, there's a few more new ones I'm going to show you guys. But first, something that's a good Tom Ford makes some very good fragrances. They do make some very good fragrances, but at the end of the day, they still also can slip up a lot. Tom Ford fragrances have some of the ones that I really enjoy, but I wouldn't say, other than ombre leather, there aren't too many that I would call a favorite of mine. There's some that maybe is in like a top 30, but Tom Ford's can really be hit or miss with overall like performance. I actually just gifted away Tom Ford's Lost Cherry. Oh, I guess I can say this because they're never going to be watching these streams. But a good friend of mine, Sam, his girlfriend, actually, her birthday's coming up, and she really, really likes the Lost Cherry and the Electric Cherry, so I was able to gift that away. And I will say, after it's had time to macerate, it actually had pretty okay performance when we tested it the other day. But as a whole, Tom Fords are just so expensive, I can't really typically justify like pushing them on people, to be completely honest with you. But a cologne with a good mint smell. To be completely real with you, I don't know too many that I would honestly recommend if it's something that you want as like a true to the core mint profile. And there's not too many that I've honestly tested. As always, I try to be completely honest with you guys. I don't try to. I am completely honest with you guys. If there's something that I've never tested before, note profiles, I try to leave it up to anybody else here who can probably help out. If there's any other people in the comments who have any experience, I'd love it if you would help my buddy here. But I do know, even though I don't I don't endorse a lot of the things the guy does, I do think he can be fun sometimes. Jeremy Fragrance, even though it's like in the $250 range, just came out with a mint fragrance that he claims himself is very good. I can't necessarily endorse it, but as far as I know, it's one of the only ones that really has a prominent mint profile note to it, as far as popular perfumery goes. Let's see here. Cherry Punk by Room 1015 is excellent also, slightly leathery. I'm going to have to check that out. I do enjoy things that have a little bit of a cherry feel to them, depending on like how prominent it is. Some of the notes sometimes can be too sweet for me, to almost candy-like, and not really my style. But like I said, Lost Cherry was one I really loved. I enjoyed having it while I had it, but at the end of the day, I still just ended up being like, it's not for me. I've been trying to do that, a lot more with my collection as a whole. If there's things that I realize are just, forgive me, if there's things that I just realize overall are not my personal style, I'm like, okay, let me see if I can find a home for this. Somebody in my personal life, I can give this away kind of as a gift for the most part. But yeah, like I said, recent pickups. And again, if anybody comes through here, I'm Andrew Douglas Moon. I used to be just purely a fragrance YouTuber. I've kind of wiggled away from that at this point, but I still do these streams and hang out with you guys. If you guys would love to tell me what your scent of the day is, or just talk about stuff in general, you're more than welcome to do so. This channel has gear shifted a lot to be more of a faith-based channel. I'm a Christian, but everybody's welcome here to hang out, shoot the breeze, and talk. But yeah, when I do these fragrance streams, I'm happy to talk about anything you guys want to, and feel free to ask questions. But yeah, so recently, you already knew that I had Club de Nuit Supremacy in Heaven, or excuse me, the Supremacy Collector's Edition. Completely different here, Supremacy in Heaven. But yesterday, I actually got this bad boy in, and I hate to say, was kind of a bit disappointed. This is, I don't know how to say this, Bede Al Oud by Lattafa, the Amethyst Edition. I was really looking forward to this because the note profiles are something that's really kind of up my alley. It's supposed to be rose with a little bit of oud and everything along those lines. But when I sprayed it on, I don't really want to do it too much. I just put a little bit in the air. It has a great atomizer. Lattafa's, I'm going to say, out of all the different fragrances that I have tried, especially the cheaper, more Middle Eastern perfumeries, I have to say Lattafa's have been something that I used to be really crazy about and kind of backing off of. Not too much of a fan as much as I used to be, because the performance is just not there the way I'd like them to be. Hamra, Eternal Oud, they do pretty well. But Lattafa fragrances just do not perform the way I would like them to be, especially straight out of the, as soon as you get like a new bottle and start trying to use it. Have you tried anything from Initio? I have, actually. So I got Initio Side Effect, which I did a review on a little while back. Initio's Oud for Greatness, Oud Neo, and then Oud for Greatness Neo, and then as well I've got Paragon. Although I've tried the entire line over at Saks Fifth Avenue, but typically I only really like to give my opinions if I've like really tried something out at least 3 times on skin and seen how it performs. So, but yeah, as far as all concerned, Side Effect is probably my absolute favorite of the bunch. Let's see here. Dita, thank you for coming through. I appreciate anybody who stops through. I also apologize if my stuff starts lagging a little bit. We've had some signal troubles out here. I live way out in the country. So just letting you guys know ahead of time. Sorry about that. And again, I know it's been a while since I've done a fragrance stream. Hawass Tropical. That must be a new one. I have not been, to be completely real with you, I've not been keeping up with you guys quite just yet. As far as I've not been keeping up with what's currently coming out in the past couple of weeks. I know there's always, in the fragrance world, it's pretty much just like anything else. Like fragrances are always popping out, especially in the dupes and cheapies world. So I was staying on top of it. At this point, I've just been kind of fading out a little as far as it's all concerned. Hasn't realized is in this US yet. Thanks, JJ. What's your favorite SWY? So my favorite Stronger With You is definitely, personally, I prefer the Parfum. So I have tested them all multiple times. One of my closest friends has the Intensely. I think if I had to honestly say, I've ranked these before. So for me, the Parfum is my number one favorite Stronger With You, and then Sandalwood, and then Intensely, and then Absolutely. And then obviously there's an original version, but hey, how are you? Not much lagging, by the way. Thank you for letting me know. I appreciate that. I always like to make sure this is a comfortable experience for you guys. Anybody who comes through, more than happy to have you guys ask questions and hang out. Again, I'm sorry that I haven't done a fragrance stream in a while. Just been switching kind of things up how the channel goes as a whole. But anybody's always welcome to pop through and ask anything you would like to. Krishnadas, I don't know IOP, but I'm doing very well, and I hope you're doing well as well. I know I said that wrong, but it has been a long day. I worked my normal 10 hours. That's another thing that has shifted as to why I haven't been doing these fragrance streams as much, is because as a whole, I've been finally back to working more consistently, doing my 10-hour shifts and stuff. So after I had that little time off spiel, so it's been a little difficult to keep up with, and I'm a lot more tired, but I still love doing this and hanging out with you guys. But yeah, most definitely, I've not been wearing this as much as I'd like to very recently, but that's just because I've been kind of shifting a lot through the Versace Eros line. That's still always going to be one of my favorites, especially this time of year when we get closer into summertime. But I've been wearing a lot of Versace Eros, and as well, I've been going back to Parfums de Marly's Leighton, and as well Percival recently. So, and trying out some of the other ones that I got in, like Rare Carbon and stuff. So, very into that, but I really want to start wearing this because even though I know with the praline notes and stuff, people are going to be like, that's a fall fragrance. Honestly, there's like an orange note at the top. There is orange blossom, and you have the pink pepper. I believe it's pink peppercorn, something along those lines, but honestly, this is like a fantastic summertime fragrance. It's very bright, it's sweet, and it's got a candy-like almost quality to it. But I love this one. Have you smelled ADG Elixir? It smells nice, like a nice library. I have smelled it, to be honest with you. For me personally, I still don't really love the Aqua de Jo line. They're never going to be really something that I'm just going to go out of my way to want to have. I don't own any Aqua de Jo's myself because I'm just, they're not my style. But I will say, in and of itself, the Elixir and the Parfumo, I think that's what it is, Parfumo and Profundo, I do enjoy those for the most part. How is SW Parfum compared to Intensely? So, in and of itself, to me, this is just a little bit more rich. The Intensely is kind of like, how do I put this? The Intensely has like a little bit more of a higher lift, but for me personally, I think that the Parfum just has a little bit more of a dense richness to it, and the brightness of the orange and the pepper kind of ride through over top, because there's supposed to be, again, a praline and like a leathery note going on here. It's just excessively smooth with the Parfum, and as well, I personally think it's got better performance in and of itself. Could be a concentration thing, of course, but I love Intensely. It's just maybe a little bit more completely youthful, almost in a way. And again, everybody's going to be different, but that's kind of how I feel about it. Whereas the Parfum feels like something that can be youthful, and as well, it can be all ages and much more mature. And I love it. And what's your favorite house or specific fragrance? So I will say that my favorite fragrance to this moment is still Jean Paul Gaultier's Le Mal Le Parfum, the black bottle. That's personally my favorite because I just, and it's not like every single day is my favorite, like I have a taste for it, but in and of itself, the way that the iris with the lavender and the creaminess underneath goes, because I love iris in a fragrance. That's why I really love Reflection Man by Amouage. But for me, it's more my speed. I love that one. My favorite house is definitely Xerjoff. And the reason is there's so many things consistently from Xerjoff that just works. I love it. If I ever had to, like, even though I love Jean Paul Gaultier, if I had to give up a fragrance house and I can only stick with one for like the sake of variety and uniqueness and good fragrances and good quality performance, I would go with Xerjoff. But still, technically, Jean Paul Gaultier is like my top. But Xerjoff, I guess I'd have to say, is in and of itself maybe my favorite house, just for its ability to perform overall. And what's up, Jason S? Happy to see you here, buddy. So you're wearing a Prada Luna Rosa Ocean. That is fantastic. Have you smelled the perfume version that came out recently? I got my chance to give it a try, and to be honest with you, it's pretty cool. It's actually like a deep richness to the fragrance profile, and I enjoy it. By the way, just want to throw this out there one more time. I do apologize since you guys, all my usual people, that I haven't been able to do this for a while. I haven't been, again, working my 10-hour shifts again, so I haven't been able to do as many streams as I was doing as frequently. So I'm sorry to any people who are regulars who I've had such a good connection with and a good community that we haven't been communicating and doing these streams as often as I was. Again, anybody who pops through, feel free to come through and ask questions. Cheesy Core, what's up, buddy? Super happy to see you here. You all are awesome. I am doing fantastic. That's what I was saying. I'm sorry that I haven't been doing these streams as much. Life has just been super busy and also wonderful because in and of itself, me being full-time back to work, also me and my wife have finally really been settling into the new house. And just having more quality time. And every evening, we've started little traditions. We found a new church that we're really happy to be going to. We found new traditions more regularly going to my parents, at my in-laws' house, having dinner with them. So it's just been really special to kind of ease back and relax. But happy to be here with you guys. Like, I missed you guys. I will say that much. So I hope you guys are doing great. And please feel free to update me and tell me what's been up in y'all's life. I'd love to know. And I'm sorry if I seem a little off. I'm just very tired because it was a long day. I've smelled it. It is nice. I plan on picking up the perfume version this weekend. Heck yeah, that's awesome. What's up, M? Super happy to see you here, buddy. Appreciate you as always. I'd love to know what you guys are wearing. What's up, Tony? Super happy to see you here as well. To any of you guys, by the way, who has been coming through the Biblical Studies series, which this is going to be super confusing when I bring these things up to anybody who's popping through for a fragrance stream. But again, I'm a Christian. This is a faith-based channel. It's a family-friendly situation we do here. Everybody's welcome. When I do the fragrance streams, we don't just make it necessarily focused all about that. But I do Bible study streams and stuff like that on this channel, and it's going to be gear shifting a lot more towards faith-based content because it's extremely important to me. I'm even having the opportunity to potentially be doing actual studies classes again soon. I'm very excited about that. Again, I'm going to be doing these very specifically based around the fragrances as I do this particular stream, and I'm going to get back to doing these more often. Just wanted to let you guys know, though, that that's why I haven't been doing this as much. Busy, awesome stuff going on in life. And as well, just in general, gear shifting, the kind of stuff that I'm going to be doing as a whole. So, have you tried Xerjoff Uden? So, I actually have. Only at a shop, though. I haven't tried it enough to give you my full opinions on its overall performance abilities. But as usual, I would imagine for Xerjoff, it's probably fantastic. But the smell was very nice and unique to me. They should make us. Well, I don't think that'd be possible for them to do that, to be completely real with you. But there are fragrance houses that I've seen that are like faith-based Christian fragrance houses that like make sense based around different passages of the Bible. I thought that's pretty neat. But in and of itself, they seem to have pretty bad performance for the price that they cost. And I'm not just going to shovel out money just to do it. That's Christian yourself. Yeah, and Jess Tilly, what's up, buddy? Super happy to see you here. You appreciate the Bible study lives. Well, like I said, in and of itself, I know that it's kind of murdered the channel even further as far as like people who've come just for this kind of stuff. And I can only expect that. At the end of the day, when you kind of gear shift the things that you do, even though I still love doing this, and this is a huge passion of mine, I love perfumery, and you guys are like always welcome to do these streams and ask questions. It does mean a lot to me now that I have the opportunity to pivot to make it more about something that's like even bigger passion for me, which is my faith. So I totally understand with people who don't want to be part of it, but what got you into fragrances? So to anybody who's never heard this story before, I'm going to tell you right now. For me personally, I grew up, I love my parents, but I definitely had to work out a relationship with them as we got older because in my childhood, it was a very vicious household, physically and emotionally. Not a good situation to be in, but at the end of the day, people have their struggles. So during that time, my mom, one of the things that she introduced me to was she liked fragrances too. My mom actually had went to school for a little while for fashion. She dropped out, unfortunately, without completing it, but she was doing extremely well. She was doing good with competitions, and she was really into that kind of stuff. So my mom also loved fragrances kind of as a pair-up with the fashion world, and she used to get to go to New York and do all kinds of stuff. I think that's really cool. I was proud that she did that. I wasn't alive yet for that, but I was really proud that she did that at least. But she got me into fragrances because she kind of exposed me since I was young to how different scents can be a part of making memories and stuff like that. And so it kind of attached to me since I was little. I'm a very big sensory person. And so pretty much whenever they would be getting into it, I know it sounds like an all over the place thing, but I'm trying to tie it together. Like I said, long day, 10-hour shift, wonderful time with the family as well. So long story short, whenever things would get pretty rough with them, one of my escapes would be to go to my mom's closet space and to smell her fragrances. Like something about it just calmed me down. So that's kind of what initially introduced me into it, is being around perfumery was a way to sort of soothe myself. And I would just sit in there and like smell it. She had DKNY Be Delicious, the green apple one. And my dad even actually had Drakkar Noir, the original. So pretty much going in there and like smelling it would be a nice little escape for me. And from there, I kind of eventually got my own. My mom took me shopping at Sephora, and I got Dolce & Gabbana Light Blue, the original. Fell absolutely in love with it. Ironically, Versace Eros Parfum, which I love now, back then the original Eros, I was not a big fan of. But yeah, that's kind of what got me into it. And then eventually over time, as I started to get deeper into it as an adult, basically I got on YouTube and tried to look up reviews for myself, and I saw a lot of people giving reviews, and some of them were very seemingly honest, and I could feel like I could trust what they had to say. But there was also a lot of people who were very clearly like, I didn't even know this was a thing. But there were a lot of people who are like big time salesmen for like crappy fragrances just because they're sponsored. So I was like, well, maybe I'll just do some reviews. And that's kind of how we got here. So I do this kind of stuff, even though, again, like I said, the channel's sort of gear shifting a lot for my own personal beliefs and interests and stuff. Still love it. Spread smells and Jesus, absolutely. Hey, that's awesome. Well, that's super cool. Like I kind of hope to be one myself one day. Jess Tilly, that's super cool that you do that. I've been doing ministry stuff for quite a while. I stopped doing it for a very long time for just particular reasons that we can get into one day on like a different type of stream. But in and of itself, any opportunity to connect to people, and then in some way, shape, or form, even if we don't directly get to Jesus, even if I can just be a light to people in any way and connect with you guys, that means a lot to me. And you're absolutely right, Nick. Faith, family, and fragrance, that's kind of what this channel has become all about. Like, even though that's not the name of the channel, Andrew Douglas Moon, Faith, Family, and Fragrance, that's sort of the way it's gear shifted and going in that direction. That's not sort of, that's actually legitimately how it's gear shifted, making it a lot more about my passions and not just this one particular thing. And I'm much more happier about that. You might lose some folks, but then you gain more in return, hopefully in the other direction. Bro, it's in you already. Come on. You're absolutely right. It is. That's just the whole thing, is like in and of itself, the people that I've studied under and trained under for a very long time, I've just realized that to technically do it professionally in most cases, you have to have a specific level of education that I haven't quite got just yet. But we're working on it. I at least have been able to do it all at home. What do you think about Tom Ford Oud Wood? To be completely real with you, I was very inspired by Tom Ford Oud Wood. I'm going to stop using terms like favorite because there are favorites that I have, but I've realized that it can be pretty common for us to like hear something that we really loved once and then go, oh, that's one of my favorites. I'm not going to do that as much, instead of saying something that I was passionate about. And at one point in time, I was very passionate about Tom Ford's Oud Wood because the note profiles were so different for me. I had only really liked typical designer fragrances up until that point. And when I was at the mall, I kind of gave this a whiff because I hadn't really gave any oud fragrances much of a shot. See, I work at a place where I'm surrounded by fragrances all the time and natural oils, but it's more for production of candles and room sprays. So being around perfumery that has oud in it and note profiles, it was a little bit different for me because all I was used to was like a harsh oud fragrance profile. When I smelled Tom Ford's Oud Wood, it was just nice. It was a nice change compared to the typical designer fragrances I was used to. So in a way, along with Altair and Calan and so forth by Parfums de Marly, this was one of the ones that really inspired me to give niche perfumery a shot and really opened up a whole door. Like literally most of this collection kind of came from there. But in and of itself, I've realized over time, I've found so many things that kind of replaced my joy for this, and as well the performance for Tom Ford's Oud Wood is just not there. So I think it is a wonderful fragrance. It definitely was a game changer in its own right, blending the worlds of niche and designer very well. A lot of people love this, but it's also one of those kind of, at this point in time, overplayed. So it's a classic if you'd like to add it to your collection. But Oud Wood by Tom Ford is definitely something like not everybody needs to have at this point when there's other options I would put in its place. But it was inspirational for me, and I still do love it. It's just, like I said, unfortunately, a lot of these batches these days just do not have it, which is interesting for Tom Ford as well because they're not all like that. The Black Lacquer or the new Ebon Fume, to me personally, has fantastic performance. It really goes all day. I know some people tell me their batches do not. Mine is a brand new and was a powerhouse on my skin. But some of their stuff just ain't doing it like it should be for the price that you have to pay for Tom Ford fragrances. But yeah, gotta follow your heart. People come and go, but you gotta stay true to yourself. And that's exactly the point. I realized at one point in time, I was super excited as the channel was growing, and I was like, yes, I want to just keep it about whatever it is that's doing that thing. But as I started to dip out, I was like, you know what? At this point, I just want to do what really means a lot to my soul. When I pray about it, when I'm like, God, what do you want me to be doing? Where do I need to be going with this? And as I've been able to reach people through the Bible study times and as well still doing the fragrance streams and stuff, I was like, you know what? That's what it's all about. It's all about that time with everybody, that connection and stuff. So it just means the world to me to even get to see you guys in the first place. But I have definitely, little bit by little, been starting to kind of sort of whittle down the collection just a smidge, because it's hit that point where I've had some things that I was like, you know what, I can finally give these away as a gift. But to show you guys a few more things that I got that's new, you already saw that I got Riff's Memento, but this bad boy right here, this has been very much a new favorite for me. This actually has the potential to potentially find its way into my top like 20 overall, because it is the Club de Nuit Intense Woman. And if you all have seen me before, you know I absolutely love rose perfumery. That's one of my absolute favorite notes to put in fragrances as a whole is rose. And this really did something off. It's one of those companies where at one point in time my nose just wasn't feeling them, and I was not a huge fan of the stuff that they did. But when I got back into Club de Nuit Intense Man, the Parfum edition, it started to change that for me. And then I gave, like I said, Untold, something I fell in love with. That's supposed to be that Baccarat Rouge 540 situation. And then as well, the Sillage. But when I got my hands on this one, the Intense one, it really blew my mind. I love it. It's so dense and so strong and so powerful, and the performance in this is just crazy. But like I said, I'd love to know how you guys are doing this evening. Tell me what your fragrance of the day is. Is there any fragrance questions that you personally have? I'd love to know it and hear from you guys. And in general, you're welcome to talk about anything you want to, even if it's not. Yesterday, I bought Versace Dylan Blue and Perfumes de Marley Greenly. That's fantastic choices, to be honest with you. Even though I gave my Greenly away, my buddy Sam actually wore his Greenly to work today. And I was like, it actually is nice to me. Sometimes you don't appreciate a fragrance unless you smell it on someone else if it's like not for you. And Greenlee's definitely was that fragrance. I was like, you know what? It just doesn't really speak to me the way I would like it to. But when he wore it, I said, yeah, I actually can appreciate this for what it is as a good summertime scent just for someone else. Kind of like I let a friend of mine try 40 knots and he really wasn't feeling it. But on me, he thought it smelled fantastic. It's just kind of up close and personal. Sometimes they don't work. As well, the Dylan Blue, I recently re-smelled it and kind of confirmed for myself again, yeah, it's not really my style. It's not something I can see myself probably wearing ever again, like buying another bottle, because the last time I tried to give it a shot, I just wasn't for it. But on the flip side, a friend of mine actually has it, and I thought it was pretty good. You're sitting there, no kidding, you're wearing Cypress and Grapevine. That is the first time, I believe, that somebody told me that that's what they're wearing. I have not worn mine in quite, you know what, I actually would like to put a little bit on right now. I'm shocked by this fragrance because, again, this is technically speaking a cologne intense. It's a weaker concentration, but the bad boy does have some pretty decent performance for what it's worth. I ended up burning through so far like half of this bottle. This was one of the first things that I actually bought when I started getting back into perfumery. Sorry to be shoving this all over my nose. I might as well put a little bit right here on my hand. But something about this is very unique. I do have to say, it's hard to explain this to people. The name Cypress and Grapevine fits this like excessively perfect. But this is like a really, really unique fragrance, and I love it. It's supposed to be masculine. Obviously, Tom Hardy was the face for this. But I'm Cocoa Puffs about this one. Cypress and Grapevine. I love the name. I have not smelled anything that makes me think about this. I just would like to find something kind of like it, but maybe a little bit more strong. Something that might last me a little bit longer throughout the day. But yeah, like I said, I'm a big fan of this bad boy, that's for sure. I enjoy it. I got the Discovery set. Awesome. Well, I'm glad that you like it, buddy. Well, like I said, I really do want to continue always, always, always to be as like to the core as humanly possible. Everybody is welcome to this channel. Everybody is welcome to ask me anything you would ever like to about fragrances. But when it does boil down to it, I don't know all of what I'm going to be doing here other than doing my actual Bible study streams going forwards. So I realize that that's one of the things that's going to decide whether or not people want to actually stick around and hang out. But it is something that's extremely important to me. I've been having a great time chilling with everybody as you do it and keeping my moderators around who are helping me keep it family friendly. But still want to do these things. I can see that it's also not working nearly as good as it used to do, but that's okay. I kind of expected that because of some of my people who are regulars has kind of departed. But full bottle worthy for sure. Quality set. It really is. I wish that they had more performance, technically speaking, and necessarily speaking, better concentration, better bottle sizes as well. Because when I first bought my bottle of Cypress and Grapevine, it was very expensive. Maybe I'll also get PDM Percival in a few weeks. I do recommend it. To be real with you, for a summertime fragrance, Parfums de Marly Percival is one of the best things you can possibly get your hands on. It is bright. It is strong. To me personally, I can't speak for every bottle, but it lasts on me like all day, even on the skin for like a bright fragrance. It's one of my favorite, if not, yeah, it's in the top 3 for sure. People always want to talk about Sedley and Greenlee, and now the new Castley, which, again, if you saw when I had the sample of that, it was very much a flop for me. But this bad boy is special. What do you think of I Am the Oracle idea of Scent of Jesus? I can see something like the Levant Spice marker. So I'm definitely thinking, if somebody was to do something along those lines and make a fragrance in that vein, I'm for it, because I don't know that it would, like, religiously, I don't know that it would be good to call it that type of name, but the idea of representing something like a Scent of Nazareth or something along those lines could be really cool, because like I said, I've seen a few fragrance houses that are like spiritually based trying to do something in those veins, and smell-wise, it seems pretty interesting what they're going for. Like with the whole frankincense and myrrh and stuff like that. I think that's really neat. And definitely, honestly, the way that you listed some of those things, and agarwood with the olive oil and Levant Spice Market feel with the resin rose, I think that would actually be fantastic. I would wear that because that's right up my speed. Incensey, rose, spices, things along those lines, like a woodsy feel. I've come to realize more and more I'm not full on an aquatic type of person, not really the scent profiles that I go for, but something like what you just suggested I could really enjoy, and I could see myself kind of going crazy for. Let me try to cut this light off. I'm starting to realize I do not like the way that this looks. I originally got a light because I was told that it helps the channel look a lot more professional, but as time has gone on, I'm starting not to be a huge fan of it. But no, I think that would be a really good choice, to be honest with you. I want to find more spicy fragrances as a whole, because I don't have too many, and it's something that I want to add more to my collection. But as usual, like I said, if any of you guys come through and you've got questions about fragrances, please feel free to ask. There's no questions that you're not welcome to ask, as long as they are family friendly and true to the core. But I don't have too many new ones that I've got, other than wanting to kind of take a little bit more of a nosedive back towards smelling more of my Zerjoffs again and embracing those a little bit deeper. But yeah, after getting Castley recently and then Riff's Memento, I've kind of just fallen off of them as a whole. But I will say this, I might as well go ahead and be a little bit more specific. From now on, I am going to be doing more like long form videos, where I actually am going to take some time, maybe do a little bit more sermon oriented as far as like my faith goes, and as well doing a little bit more like in-depth Bible study stuff along those lines, because I think it'll be just a good way to go about continuing what I want to do with this channel. Not just doing the live streams, but as well doing actual long form little study videos, and maybe even a little sermon stuff like I used to do on my old ministry. Back in the day, I had a ministry called the Lost Lambs. And when I was doing that, that was basically the overall goal for that channel, was each week, every Sunday, and then also sometimes even on Wednesdays, I was doing roughly anywhere from like 10 to 30-minute videos. That was kind of like a little sermon. And it really meant something to the local community that I was a part of at that time, people who weren't able to actually make it to church. So, by the way, anybody who pops through here, if you're new to the channel, whatever, you are more than welcome to ask questions about fragrances and stuff. But as well as a Christian, this is like a faith-based channel, and I do talk about those things quite often. Not here to argue or debate with anybody. That's not my spiel. Anybody is welcome here, although that's kind of where it goes. And as well, I've noticed a dip in the channel since I started being more upfront with my faith, but it is the most important thing to me next to my family. So that is something that I think I'm going to start doing more regularly, is gear shifting towards doing actual videos like I used to do. If you guys who are regulars to the channel are looking forward to that, if you are okay with that, because I'm sure and hopefully you are a part of a community yourself already. But if not, I'd love to get the opportunity just to be able to provide you with a little something every now and then. Like I said, nothing crazy, just 10, maybe 10 to like 30-minute situations that I can just start posting once a week and just give you something to connect to and build that community a little bit more in that direction as a whole. Because I'm also going to want to start featuring videos of stuff with me and my family hanging out. And especially because this weekend, the kids are coming. We're going to have a fantastic time. And who knows, we might actually make a little bit of something to share it with you guys. But that's sort of the plans. But as for now, like I said, this is still technically a fragrance stream, so you guys are more than welcome to ask questions should you have any, and I'd be happy to answer anything that you want to know. So please feel free to think about it, talk about it, and do whatever. As well, I saw that my personal fragrance that I got made has finally come in. That sounds nice. I appreciate that. Yeah, like I said, it's good to get feedback because in ways, even though that is the most important thing for me as a person, it has been a little nerve-wracking thinking, how is this going to go? Because a large portion of my original audience was from India, and a large portion of my Nazareth is awesome, by the way. I live an hour from there. Do you really? Whoa, that's really cool. I don't think I've ever asked you before, Cheesy Core, like where you're actually personally based, because a lot of you guys who come through here, that's literally what I was about to say, is I've had a huge chunk of people in time who are from India, who are from the Middle East, and certain places like North Africa. And again, I'm super happy and welcoming of like anybody and everybody who actually takes the time to come through here and spend time together. As the channel shifts, it's just kind of meaningful to me. It's like very important to have that time with everyone. But I also know that a lot of those people have been more against that kind of stuff that I want to do to make it more faith-based, and that's okay. That's just how it's going to be. But I wanted to know for you guys who are still sticking around and still a part of it, are you happy about that idea? So, and tomorrow morning, just want to throw this out there, definitely for sure going to be doing our usual Bible study stream. I'm very excited, by the way, because we're finally going to be diving actually into Genesis. We've been doing an introduction for quite a while, but we're actually going to be getting into the nuts and bolts and the nitty-gritty, starting it all off from the very beginning. So if you're interested in that, you're more than welcome to be a part of it because it's going to get really awesome. We're actually going to go from scholarship studies straight up into actual reading, and then kind of get into a more devotional message as a whole. But yeah, like I said, my personal fragrance that I had made from Sensual Obsessions, it actually came, unfortunately, in our local post office. Don't have the ability to pick it up until tomorrow because we have to hit a little slippy thing because they don't just let you just get access to packages unless somebody's there to hand it over. But tomorrow I'm finally going to get my actual fragrance that they made for me at Sensual Obsessions. These guys are awesome. If you want to get a fragrance made for yourself, let me see what you said. I look forward to it. Glad you are using it. Hey, I appreciate you saying that, buddy. Anytime somebody says anybody's got a gift, it always is meaningful. I definitely it means a lot to me when somebody says something like that. And to Papa Derek Castor, what's up, buddy? Thank you for coming through here. Like I said, if anybody does have any questions, please feel free to ask. This is definitely still a fragrance stream, no matter how I start getting derailed. But I will say, if you guys want to ever make a fragrance of your own, go to sensualobsessions.com. It's scent, like smelling scent, because these guys actually have the ability. It is like, I think it's like $40 for 6 notes you get to pick from. So I'm not sponsored by them, by the way. Just throwing it out there. And these are just really awesome guys, and I've appreciated them so much. And their work is actually fantastic. These are like extracted perfume, so it's like seriously concentrated oils. But these bad boys is like $40 plus $5 shipping. So for $45, you get to create your own fragrance, and it only takes a couple weeks to come in, and that's really cool. I wish more places had those kind of offerings. I know that a lot of times it'd probably be more expensive if they did, but I really think that it's awesome that you actually get to make your own fragrances through their website. But yeah, to anybody comes through here, if you're new, if you've never been to the channel before, I'm Andrew Douglas Moon. This is a faith-based channel. I'm a Christian, but I also love perfumery and fragrances. I have these fragrance streams where we hang out and chill. Everybody's welcome. Please feel free to ask. Do they have fresh cut grass as a note option? Very funny you should ask that, because that was one of the ones I thought about adding to the one that I got made. Yes, they do. Actually, you know what? While I have an opportunity to do so, let me see if I can pull it up real fast, because the list of options that they have of notes that you can have made if you got your own favorite. What does that say, Luca? What's up, Luca? Thank you for popping through here. What's your favorite summer and winter fragrance? So for summertime, I think honestly I'm going to say Jean Paul Gaultier's Le Beau Le Parfum. That is my overall. I love Paradise Garden. I love Eros, Energy, stuff along those lines. But my favorite, specifically summer fragrance, is Jean Paul Gaultier's Le Beau Le Parfum. My favorite wintertime fragrance, If I had to say that, like, if it's true to the core winter fragrance, probably Grand Soir by Maison Francis Kirkjohn. Just being honest. Since you like roses, what do you think of? I have not smelled that. I have not smelled that, but I do have the ability to get my nose on it because the Saks Fifth Avenue nearby actually has that fragrance. But I don't personally, hold on real quick, Sensual Obsessions. I want to be able to tell you guys like what all their actual notes that you can choose from if you was to make your own. But yeah, I have not smelled that one by Creed yet, but thank you for bringing that up because I've smelled a handful of rose fragrances recently of different kinds, and some of them really speak to me, but some of them, especially ones that are maybe more like rose and fruitiness, isn't quite my thing depending on how it's done. A lot of times they like to use, yeah, I'm from Israel, very close. That is awesome. Well, I definitely, that's a place that I really would love to go one day for me myself personally to explore. What do you think about the new Versace Eros Najim? I haven't been able to get my hands on that. So where I live in the United States, and so far getting a hold of Eros Najim is not very simple. I've looked online. There's a few websites that seem to be good retailers or trustworthy retailers of it, so I want to get a bottle because me and my buddy were looking at the notes for it today, and it honestly looks really good. Let me see real quick where they have the ability. So create your own fragrance. So I'm on Sensual Obsessions website, and I definitely, so yeah, for $40, you get to make your own perfume extract. Yeah, so you pull this bad boy up, and then you choose the notes that you want to pick from. And sorry, you guys, I just wanted to be able to look on here and tell you specifically. Okay, so here is the notes that you get to pick from. Agarwood or oud, allspice, apple, apple essence, which it says is very potent, almond, amber, ambergris, amberwood, ambroxan, Arabian sandalwood, benzoin, bergamot, birch leaf, black cherry, black currant, black pepper, black tea, blueberry, brioche, that's a pretty cool option, brown sugar, buttered rum, calone, which is, by the way, Calone, completely different, just letting you know, caramel, cannabis, cardamom, which is a limited supply, carnation, cedar, cedar leaf, cherry, chocolate, cinnamon, citrus, clary sage. There's a lot more that I'm going to go through, but I just want to let me know like way ahead of time. It's like, with all these options that you get to pick from, should you make your own fragrance, it was really difficult. When I was looking at the list and thinking, like as I'm looking at it right now, there are certain things I wish I had chosen. It's just cool though, because I'm going to go ahead and do it again, eventually make another fragrance through these guys because they're fantastic. But it's mind-boggling to me this is even an option and you have all these things to pick from because the list keeps going on and on and on. What's your least favorite fragrance that you own? Thank you, Skater, for coming through. My personal least favorite fragrance, I would have to say, least favorite fragrance that I own, that is a little bit difficult because I can tell you one of my most disappointing fragrances that I have is Vulcan Feud because I love the scent profile, but it performs like absolute garbage. And I really was hoping that that whole TikToker like thing that they hype stuff up, really was hoping that wasn't going to be the case with this situation. I was hoping it was going to actually perform the way people made it out to be, but it severely let me down. I think though that other than like classic Hawass and maybe Hayat by Xerjoff. Xerjoff's like, again, one of my overall favorite fragrance houses, but that one's oud profile is just not for me. I think also I really don't like Aether. So this is supposed to be a greenly thing. There's some of these dupes are like really big bummers for me because they smell so synthetic, but they also perform like garbage. This claims to be an extrait de parfum, and this bad boy just not doing it. It also gave me a freaking headache. So I think probably something along those lines, like between the original Hawass at this point, stuff along those just doesn't bring me a lot of joy as far as fragrances that I personally own. And then again, I have like some type of ability to enjoy all of them to some way or another. What's up, Tiles? Super happy to see you. Some dupes smell like Brut. They really do, Tito. They do. Here in Italy, it's popping right now. They say it's better than the original Eros. Really? Okay, Luca, thank you for letting me know that. I'm going to have to definitely get my hands on it. I'm assuming you're talking about Najim. I'm going to have to get my hands on it as soon as I possibly can because, yeah, by the way, to my buddy who asked, fresh cut grass, if you go on Sensual Obsessions website and you make your own fragrance, is definitely here, one of the first ones you can choose from, because how it works, basically, they've got gun smoke, green apple, green leaf, so many different things. How it pretty much works is you go on their website and you choose to create your own fragrance. Like I said, it's $40. And then you just type in, when you do the purchase thing, you type in the notes, the scent profiles that you want. And for $40, you get to do 6. I think you can do more than that if you choose like 10 more bucks. But yeah, I definitely went for a very rose-centered fragrance with some iris and stuff. But Najim is very sweet, right? It's supposed to be, from what I know. I used to borrow my grandpa's Brut. Yeah, when I was younger, I liked Brut. I also, like I said, my dad had Drakkar Noir, and then a friend of mine had Nautica Voyage, and those were some stuff that spoke to me pretty early on as well. I like those classic fragrances. I'd never buy them again because they just I don't, not the type of performance that I want. But even still, at this point, now that the summer's cranking up and it's getting even hotter, a lot of fragrances as a whole is starting to become difficult for my skin to latch on to. So. Whew, but I've been having to like really crank out the powerhouses at this point to even get what I want out of it. Oh, but this smells so good right here. The Stronger With You perfume. Stronger With You perfume has really been blowing my mind. If you could only use one fragrance for the rest of your life, what would it be? By the way, as always, I can't stress this enough because I know people come and go during these live streams. If you come through here, but you're more than welcome to ask any questions you would like to. Bro, should I buy Xerjoff Herba Pura? Personally speaking, I would say yes. If you want something that's a very vibrant, fruity, passion fruit, mango type of profile, it's very strong. Xerjoffs are always strong. Very much recommended if you want something very bright and powerful. So I mean, again, like it's not, don't just take my advice and just do whatever I say, but it is a great fragrance. And if you're thinking about it, I'd say if you can responsibly do it, it's worth it. If you can only have one fragrance though, I am going to, I do think I want to really think about this for a second because I do tend to think my personal favorite fragrance would have to be what I would choose, which is Jean Paul Gaultier's La Mala Parfum. If I could just choose one for the rest of my life. Yeah, it's going to be that. Jean Paul Gaultier's La Mala Parfum is my favorite fragrance. If I could have one just for the rest of my life, it's going to be this one because it just speaks to me. It brings me the most joy, and I love it no matter what the weather is. It's not like the best summertime fragrance in the world. Obviously, it's more of like a fall, winter time, but it just means so much to me. The fragrance profile is so good. I would probably have to pick this and keep this as my lifelong. I know it's hard to pick a favorite. Which one would you avoid? Oh, shoot. Which one would I avoid? Most definitely, definitely going to be Hawass. Versace Hawass, something that I would avoid if I had to. Again, Hayat, I love Xerjoff, but their oud fragrance, Hayat, it's really not for me. Perhaps if when I was introduced to it, I wasn't introduced to it under the word cheesy. I'd never heard the word cheesy oud before, but that's how it was described. And when I got my nose on it, I just cannot get that out of my head, and I hate it. I like oud and other things, but if it's blended, I don't like oud at the top. Please recommend a fresh, long-lasting with bergamot, amber, and a little pineapple as the back notes, like a very little citrus. Oh, that'll be an easy one. To be honest with you, the Supremacy in Heaven Collector's Edition. This bad boy is actually fantastic by Afnan. It is like, it's got an apple note to it with like a pineapple-y feel to it and everything, very woodsy feel, bergamot-y. I really like this. It's a pretty good price. I would honestly send you, if you want something a little higher range and more quality, one of my favorites is Versace Eros Parfum. The Eros Parfum is like incredible. Cannot go wrong. Monstrous performance. But Afnan's Supremacy Collector's Edition, that's definitely going to give you what you're looking for. Are you into luxury candles at all? By the way, now that you guys are starting to pop through, just want to throw this out there. I'm going to try to keep up with you guys as always. Do you have French Avenue's Aether Extract? I do have that. Just a heads up, it's not the best performance in the entire world whatsoever. I'm not a huge fan of that note profile as a whole, but it's not horrible compared to the original, but it's just not the best performance. Are you into luxury candles? So I actually work for a candle maker supply company. So we have hundreds of fragrances, waxes, wicks, jars. That's what we do. We supply to like all the largest candle places in America, basically. Or candle makers, and some of those people make really good stuff. We make really good stuff when we're getting them tested out, and they're fantastic. So I do love candles as a whole. I used to make them, but I just haven't done it in a while. So we should see a lot more of you guys come on this live soon. I appreciate everybody who's stopping through here, by the way. Oh my guys, yeah, I appreciate you guys so much. Najim is sweet, but right now, Italy. If I can get the opportunity, I will be checking out Najim. How many fragrances do you have? As a whole, I have 150 at this point. I had 147 not long ago, but I had a handful more join the collection very recently. So at this point, it's rocking roughly around 150. Hopefully, you guys can see very well. By the way, I'm testing out. I got a new little stand. I know I should have done that a long time ago, but I finally got me a little stand from my phone, so I can do this a little easier. I only have 16. That's perfect. To be honest with you, I always tell people having something like this, unless you do reviews and stuff like. And do stuff for YouTube, it's pointless to have all these fragrances. If you're like rich and you just like collecting stuff, that's neat, but it's not good for the brain. As a person who really believes in attaching to things that you have, that you express yourself with, it's kind of like your outfits, right? It's not anything wrong with expressing yourself with different styles, but if you did have a closet that had like a whole section for here's my preppy clothes, and if I want to be sporty, if I want to be full throttle goth, if I want to be acid goth, if I want to be emo, if I want to be this or that, it's fine if that's what you really want to do. But at the end of the day, a lot of people tend to like at least gravitate towards certain things that become a part of you, how you express yourself. With fragrances, it's really no different. It's perfect to have like a handful of different variety to pick from. But for most normal people, it's kind of pointless and a little confusing for you to even know what you want to pick if you have more than like 15 or so fragrances. I try to say anywhere between 7 to 15 is like a good max to do. Let me see here. I have an interest in Serenade and Diptyque candles. I haven't tried any of those. I have some friends who have, and they say they're pretty good, but definitely in the candle world, it's kind of, to be real with you, like I said, the company that I work for ships all the like higher quality waxes that people use to make candles in a lot of the biggest companies in the U.S., all the way out to the East Coast, and all the way out to the West Coast. We got 3 big facilities, and to be real with you, just throwing this out there, some of these companies that charge quite a bit for their candles, it's just kind of like fragrances, but even worse. They're not necessarily really worth it. The time that goes into it, plus the materials, trust me, if a candle of a certain size is over like $25, they've already way crossed over the realm of value because the wax and so forth they're using in the fragrance profiles really ain't worth it. So luxury candles is not really, it's kind of a jip for me as somebody who works in that industry. You think CH212 is unique? From what I've got my nose on, I don't have a lot of experience with that fragrance, but I would say it's pretty all right. How did you get into fragrances? So Skater, just one more time, kind of like a quick summary, because somebody asked this earlier, so if you guys didn't see. Basically, again, a bit of a turmoilous, if that's even the proper word, like a violent childhood. My mom loved fragrances, went to school for fashion and stuff. Doesn't do that stuff anymore, but she was very into fragrances, and I loved them from the childhood because of her. Learned a lot about fragrances connecting to memories. When things would get rough around the house, I go smell her fragrances. For some reason, it just made me feel good, calmed me down. That's pretty much how it became a thing for me. And then as I got older and got my own fragrances, like Dolce & Gabbana's Light Blue, just became very passionate about it. And making memories and just interested in the art and science behind perfumery. So that's pretty much how I got into it. And then I got into doing YouTube stuff for fragrances because as I wanted to look and learn a little bit more myself, I noticed too many people kind of pushing it the wrong way. And I just want to start a channel where I'm honest about that kind of stuff. And again, everybody's opinions are different though. So always remember, if you see people give you their opinions about fragrances, remember, it is just somebody's opinions. So your mileage may vary. Any fresh fragrance in PDM? There sure is. So Parfums de Marly has Sedley and Greenlee, and then now they've got the newest one, which I cannot recommend at all, which is Castley. So I got the sample from Parfums de Marly. A lot of people were able to get them for free when it was first coming out. And it's just like a strong bergamot soapy fragrance. Not a fan at all. If you was going to get a good, strong, freshy fragrance, I say Percival. Percival by Parfums de Marly is like a fantastic choice to go for if you want like a really good, strong, freshy fragrance. That's my recommendation. The new Castley is just a disappointment for me personally. No offense to anybody who's digging it, but it's just very whatever. Sitting in the day. The Davidoff Cool Waters. Actually, I do like Davidoff. I really like the Intense as well. Now, it was a classic for me. And then Davidoff Cool Water is the Elixir. I haven't smelled that yet, but I've seen it comes out and I want to get my nose on it. Dior Sauvage, fantastic choice, buddy. I actually have the EDT. It's a good choice. I prefer the Parfum the most. What is a fragrance you feel was a major letdown? Definitely, I say a lot. It's going to be Vulcan Few. And just because of the reason that the scent profile I like, it's decent enough. It's just like a sweet ginger mango type of fragrance. By the way, again, I'm sorry if it starts lagging or whatever. But for me personally, it's just the performance. It was a huge letdown for me because I was hoping it was going to be very explosive. Because there's always those people on TikTok and junk who, when they're talking about fragrances and stuff, they're like, "Ooh, you just won't believe it. It's like 12 hours plus and it just reeks off your skin." And you get it and you're like, no, it literally doesn't do that whatsoever. That's what ended up happening with this. This was my biggest letdown overall. Also, kind of honestly, when I got my sample of Castley by Parfums de Marley, that was a little bit of a letdown too for me, to be straight up, because I really looked forward to it because I like Parfums de Marley. They're not my favorite house, but I like them. And this one was just not distinct. It's cool, but it's not the most unique thing in the entire world. I really love Vulcan Few. It lasts long on me. So here's the thing. Lasting long, it lasts well enough on the skin as like a close-up, but as far as like really coming off of you, a brand new bottle I got here. A friend of mine also unfortunately got one too for way more expensive than I paid from straight up from the seller, from French Avenue's website. I believe that's where he got it from, and his as well. You spray it on the skin, it stays on the skin pretty well, okay, like close up, very close up as a skin scent for like maybe about 6 to 8 hours. But the problem is like coming off of you. A lot of people have pushed this fragrance as something that really bleeds off and has good projection, and from my bottle to his, this goes completely dead and hardly noticeable. But if it works for you, I really the smell is nice. If it works for you, that's great. And please review Salvatore Ferragamo. I do not have that one, but I might actually get that at some point in time and do that for you. I try to do things as much as possible if people would like to see me review something. So I'll give that a shot if I can for you, buddy. But yeah, like I said, in and of itself, sort of, the channel has gear shifted away. I paid almost $70 for mine. Yeah, a handful of people. My friend paid $77 for his bottle of Vulcan Few, and when you're paying that much money, you should be getting something a little bit more quality from me personally. So it's not horrible. It's just a big letdown for me and what I was expecting, because I love French Avenue. They actually do really dense, powerful fragrances. So I was thinking it was going to be something that was going to really come off of me and have great projection. Compared to Vulcan Sable, which actually does have good performance overall, it just was not quite there. But who knows? Maybe as time goes on, maybe it'll start getting to that point. How do I start getting more fragrances? It's also expensive. Well, just throwing this out there, I highly recommend you don't try to start really collecting them too much. I would say, again, as I tell people all the time, 7 to 15 fragrances is like the best you personally need in your own personal collection, because after that, you're just kind of overkilling it. You only need so many decent options to have in your own personal collection. So what I would recommend is just start slowly saving up money and gathering up some a little bit at a time. Have a few cheaper ones, like from cheapies and dupes. And then as well, get yourself something in that mid-price point, some good designers, and go for like the better versions of those designers. Get yourself Dolce & Gabbana Light Blue Intense. Get yourself Versace Eros Parfum, Dior Sauvage Parfum, certain really good designers. Again, Jean-Paul Gaultier's La Mel Elixir or La Mel Le Parfum. These are really good designers to add to yourself. That's really going to bleed out. They have a new bottle called, I saw about that. I do not have that yet, but I did see about that new in the new Vulcan. Do you have Amir Al Arab? I do not, buddy. But if somebody in the, by the way, I see that it looks like I'm lagging. Hopefully you guys can still hear me. But if I am lagging, I think it's because my Wi-Fi is starting to get screwy. I am probably going to go ahead and you guys to be like bored out of your skulls if it's screwing up. I got Johnson baby powder and the cool water cologne. Hey, look, nothing wrong with that. So just want to go ahead and throw this out there, because I am going to allow you guys to continue to ask questions for a little bit longer, but I can say that my signal's been screwy because it's kind of not the best weather out here tonight. So with that being said, I am Andrew Douglas Moon. This is my channel. This is started off as purely a fragrance channel. No offense to anybody out there, and I really appreciate every one of you guys who come through here and ask questions. I always have. Always will. But I have also lost a lot of people recently because of the fact that I've kind of gear shifted the focus of this channel. So personally, as you can probably see, I'm a Christian. I have been for quite some time. Changed my life, made my life go in a direction. Following God has changed my life in a direction I never thought could be possible, and it has been. And it's been beautiful. So it's the most meaningful thing to me, and then along with trickling down the stream to my family and so forth. So this started off as purely a fragrance channel for the time that I had focusing just purely on that. But in and of itself, I've definitely shifted towards doing my Bible studies, and then I'm going to start doing more little ministry-based videos and stuff. I totally get it if you guys start bailing out. I get it if a lot of you guys don't want to be here for that stuff anymore. That's okay. I understand that. I'm going to continue to do fragrance streams as I have done in the past, but just want to be known I'm going to be doing a lot more faith-based videos going forwards. So if you guys don't want to be here for that, totally respect you. Appreciate you guys. Just letting you know that's kind of what I'm going to be doing a little bit more of, and been relaxing a little bit more with these kinds of streams. Thoughts on Latent Exclusive and Absolute Aventus. So 100% do not recommend Absolute Ventus only because the price is ridiculous. The price for Absolute Ventus versus the fact that it doesn't, I mean, obviously Creative Ventus in general has like horrible performance. But with that being said, on the flip side, the Absolute is better concentration, but still excessively expensive. On the other hand, Latent exclusive, I like it. I actually got that as a full bottle before I bought Latent, but I prefer Latent. Latent to me is just more versatile, a better fragrance overall. Latent exclusive is good, it's darker, it's richer. But for me personally, my wife and everybody that I have exposed to Latent versus Latent exclusive prefers the original Latent. It's cool, but they prefer the original. What shorts you wearing? It's actually funny. Today I'm wearing once again my Hollister shorts that I was before. Do you have Fragrance World Paradigm? I do not have that. That's why I subscribed. Thank you, Derek. Well, I appreciate you letting me know that. And again, tomorrow morning, I'm going to be going through, we're going to be diving into our little Bible study and stuff. And so you guys who are coming through now, based off of, wait, just so I clarify, you subscribe because of fragrances or because of the faith stuff? So again, just letting you guys know, Jean-Paul Lebeau. Oh, absolutely. That is a fantastic choice, Orlando. You wearing the Jean-Paul Gaultier Lebeau de Parfum. That's one of my favorite summertime. It is my personal favorite summertime choice next to Dolce & Gabbana's Light Blue Oh Intense Faith. All right, then that makes me really happy. Super happy to see you here. Can I please see your outfit? Yeah, it's just this is weird that in the camera it looks orange, but it's actually red. I'm wearing like a reddish orange Carhartt shirt and just some shorts, so nothing special. But well, that makes me happy. I just bought exclusive and already own Latent. I hope it's not redundant. It's not redundant because in and of itself, one of them's better for like a smokier evening type of fragrance. But that's all I'm saying is like, in and of itself, I prefer the original Latent as a smell. But Latent exclusive is nice to have. I just like the original myself. Have you seen the new Afnon Tarathi Electric? I have not. I actually haven't even smelled Tarathi Blue just yet. I would like to at some point, but I heard it's got horrible performance. So every time that I added Tarathi Blue to my cart, I end up picking something else. But at some point, I would like to actually go ahead and add that to my collection. Have you had Prisma Parfums? I have not. Thank you, Gabriel Colognes, for coming through, by the way. I appreciate you guys. Like I said, all of my buddies who have been here before, who are part of this, it means a lot to me when you actually stop through and we get a chance to hang out. I have not done fragrance streams in a while. And I know, I've missed hanging out with you guys and getting the chance to shoot the breeze and catch up. But like I said, I'm just gear shifting the channel a lot more. Again, I know, to anybody who's been watching the whole time, you might hear me seem like I'm repeating myself a lot. I have to. When you do these live streams, you want to be able to keep up with folks who are coming through new. So it can be difficult. But as this channel is gear shifted a lot more towards my faith and like what means so much to me and has changed my life, and bringing that out, like, so it's not something that was never there. It's been a part of me for 7 years, but I just haven't made a big part of this channel. Now that I'm gear shifting towards more doing that and making this more ministry based and less just purely about fragrances and stuff, I totally understand people who are not around. But to you guys who have come because of that reason, I'm super happy about that. Absolute comes in 50 mil instead of 100. Absolutely, yeah. It costs a lot as well for what you get for that. It smells like toilet cleaner to your nose. Well, you know what? I'm going to say this. I'm going to go ahead and call this a night. My buddy here going to bed. We're about to do the same thing because even though I'm off tomorrow, my wife's got to go to work. So I'm about to go ahead and close this out with my night-night prayer. Not my night-night prayer, but my end-of-stream prayer that I normally do. And anybody who's part of this, no matter who you are, what you believe, or where you're from, you're more than welcome to be a part of this prayer. And then tomorrow, if any of you guys want to come for the Bible study in the morning, we're going to be doing that. It's a scholarly-based study, technically speaking, but I will also have devotional parts to it. Again, this channel is no longer just fragrances. I do fragrance streams like this, but it's also fragrance, faith, and family. It's so much more, specifically going to be a lot more lean towards faith going forward. So totally get it if you don't want to be here for that. But we're about to close this out with a prayer. Dear Father, thank you so much. Thank you so much for this time that I got to have with these people. It's opened my eyes as well to some things that are like really crucial to me, like the things that I hope for doing in the future. And I just am so grateful for the Bible studies we've been doing lately and everybody who's come through and joined the channel through that avenue. But as well, thank you for everybody who's been here with the fragrances. And I'm going to continue to do these streams when I get the chance. And I thank you for each and every person, no matter who they are or where they're from, God. I pray that they come to know you, that they get to see who you are and experience you in their life and turn to Jesus and get to understand how important it is to have that as a part of their life, to see how they can be towards others and one another and just share love in this world. And I just pray in general they get to have peace in their heart and souls and find real substance in this world, that we all get to let go of attachment to things that don't matter as much as possible, and really just seek after the truth and seek after love and goodness in this world. We are going through a lot of stuff in this world at this point. We always have been, but definitely people are in major pain and just really disconnected. And I pray that we can come together in some way, shape, or form. And I know that that can really only happen through you. So I thank you, God, for all these beautiful people who come through. And I just hope for blessings in their life, and that they come to find purpose and understand that you just meant them for so much in this world, and that the life is definitely not hopeless, even though we can feel that way sometimes. So God, you bless these people. I pray in your name, Jesus. I thank you for your love, your grace, your mercy, and your sacrifice. I lift every one of these beautiful people up to you in your name, Jesus. Amen. So thank you guys so much for popping through. I appreciate y'all so very much, and I love you guys. I hope y'all have a wonderful evening, and I'll be definitely catching you guys on the flip side. For anybody, like I said, who wants to come through tomorrow morning and be there for the Bible study, anybody who wants to become a moderator and help out with these things, because keeping out comments of like people being negative, people who start saying inappropriate stuff, that's not what we're here for. We're not here to like argue and debate with people. It's a waste of time. So when I do those things, it's really good to have folks who are around to just help me out, just like keep out the riffraff. So anybody who wants to be a mod, please let me know. But if you do come, and thank you so much, I really appreciate that. I'm glad I just get to pray with you guys and make that an important part of every time that I do these streams, no matter what the topic is. But definitely let me know, you guys, if anybody wants to help out. And I appreciate you guys, and I'll see y'all tomorrow when we do the Bible stream. And God bless each and every one of you. So thank you so much.